Gentlemen, we haven't done a live in forever and a day. So if this thing will now flip back, I can actually ask my lovely assistant, Arno over here, hold on to the phone, let me just flip the rig, and I can do the flippy on this side. Now we've got that sorted. Let's get this guy in there. Very, very professional stream this, right? Okay, so the whole thing here is the bevel grinding rig and how to use this thing. Just zoom out ever so slightly out here. All right, so that there, how do you get your knife on there? How do you use the jig? So let's use that guy. I want to grind that, and I do not have a file guide that I can use in between the barn doors over there. How do I do this? Yep. So number one, you'll see all the little holes. Okay, so let's do technicalities. What I want on the jig is I want the edge to run parallel with the top of the jig. All right, but I want that gap, I want it to protrude 3 to 5 millimeters above the jig. And another thing to keep in mind is wherever you see the jig, you're going to be grinding the jig. That includes little tips like that. If your tip is not protruding the jig or going over the jig, you'll probably grind the jig. So don't do that, right? So you want that. That's about my orientation. And now I'm looking at these little holes. And I see that guy over there. See that little supporting hole? And if my edge is parallel, I've got that little supporting hole. So I can lift that guy up ever so slightly, drop it. So I'm focusing on that hole and that hole there. And is my edge parallel? Yeah, that's going to work fine. So what I then do is I grab my little knots and insert them. And what I want to do is I want that nut to form a little shelf where my knife can sit on. Okay. So go that, now go that. So now it fits on there. Is my edge going to be parallel? Yeah, it's good. So what I now want to do is I want to just clamp it in place. So I've got that there. Just got a small vice grip. You can use a G clamp or whatever you have. Get that done, and now I want to make a little mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use that curve there as a lineup. Now, see that little curve there? I want that to line up exactly with that area there. See, as soon as I see little jig right there, so I want that corner and that to line up. All I want is a way to identify whether I've got this set up. So let me explain. So in that fashion, lined up, as we have it there, got it sitting like this, right? So now I can grind this side of my blade. If I want to flip the blade around to now grind the other side, I need to mirror these nuts. So I'll move this guy there, and I move that guy there. Now I can flip this around. But I still need to have that orientation correct. So using a section of the blade as a way to orient the left and the right helps tremendously. If you do not have a section of the blade that you can use, for instance, if I'm now having to sit there for whatever reason, all right, let's just clamp this down. Oh, come on, just clamp it, damn it. Okay, grab yourself a marker. On the inside of the jig, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line. With my marker, it'll actually mark. I'm going to carry that line over. Ooh, look at that. I've got that little thingy. And I'm just going to eyeball it on this side. So we get rid of that. If I now need to flip over, I'm going to redo my little bolts, and I'm going to use that as a way to establish the same distance off the edge here. So off the edge here, and if she's flipped around in place, is the same distance as the off the edge there. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, that was it. That's all we wanted to do, man. Hope you guys have fun. So these are the Black Dragon Forge bevel grinding jig, available at blackdragonforge.com. Yeah, so it's the only jig on the market where you can use no file guide, or you can use a file guide. Let me just quickly grab one. Or you can use a file guide, even a carbide faced or a standard one. So let's just do a non-carbide faced file guide. So there is just a really cheap non-carbide faced file guide. So whatever you can now clamp on your blade, and I will now clamp this up to orientate onto that little line. And once this is all pinched up, I can now use my file guide as a way to set everything up. Yeah. But what I would want to do, see, the file guide is now set to the left. But the jig comes with little barn doors, and I'll show you to you in a moment. So what I'll do is I'll set those two barn doors up perfectly to accept my file guide, lock the barn doors in, and now I don't need the second little supporting rig. I only need another one at the same height there. So all I'm going to do is I'll replicate that one to this side, and the jig now forms the center part, or the jig. The file guide now forms the center part. If I move it out of the barn doors and just flip it over, slip it back into the barn doors, and it'll support on that same nut on this side. Hope that makes sense. Now the barn doors works as follows, and it made these so more than 1 inch apart so that I can accept any file guide, any width file guide. So even if you have a look at that one there, so the thickness, this is a Creative Man. Now they are referred to as Nordic Edge versus that one there. Two different thicknesses. This one is carbide faced, this one is not. So I then set this up. Well, let's set it up with this guy, right? Set that up exactly in center. I'll loosen the bolts and then slide my barn doors. I'll set this up, and taking your time to set that up perfectly, you'll nip them down once this is perfectly aligned. Nip everything up, and now moving and flipping this way and that way. Come on, set them up perfectly. And then moving this way and that way. Flipping your knife over becomes a lot easier. Yeah? Done! So that's the two ways of using the file guide or the bevel grinding jig. For me, I don't really mind. Either way, if I'm doing 20 knives of the same, so I've got a production run, they're exactly the same, and I have got multiple file guides, I can then go and spend the time, put them on each other at exactly the same position, and then it is easy to use the same jig. You just in, out, in, out, in, out, and you're done. You get the idea. So that was the aim behind this little live. Hope you guys have fun. Once again, where can I get this? blackdragonforge.com. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. Cheers.